President Donald Trump tweeting moments ago that he will ask for a, quote, major investigation into voter fraud. The president vowing to strengthen voting procedures. Joining us now is Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida. She's the former chair of the Democratic National Committee. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Let me read for you. I know you haven't had a chance to read it yet. What Trump just tweeted about voter fraud. He says, I will be asking for a major investigation into voter fraud, including those registered to vote in 2 states, those who are illegal, and even those who registered to vote who are dead, and many for a long time. Depending on results, we will strengthen up voting procedures. Is this an investigation that Congress would go along with?
Well, I mean, what's more frightening is that this is an investigation that through the Department of Justice, the president can actually conduct without Congress's authority. I mean, the Department of Justice has the ability to launch investigations. Now, of course, we can always stop them from doing that, but that's quite unlikely. I mean, what's the most disturbing about this is the president's penchant for lying, also known as alternate facts now, from the trivial in terms of how many people showed up to watch his inauguration, to him perpetrating the lie that 3 to 5 million people, fraudulently voted in his presidential election. I mean, anything that makes him look bad or doesn't make him look good is something that he is willing to just tell bald-faced lies.
How are dead people voting?
There's just no possible way that there is, rampant cases of dead people voting. I mean,
or maybe even any case of a dead person voting.
Well, I mean, for the simple fact that when you die, eventually you are purged from the registration rolls.
Okay, well, there it is. So what I think that what he's saying is that there are still names of people who are deceased on the voter registration rolls. That is correct, yes?
There would be people who may recently have died that would still be registered to vote. I'm talking about a few months ago.
Right, but no evidence that those dead people actually could vote. People impersonating the dead person could vote. No evidence.
There would no evidence at all. There would have to be massive fraud being perpetrated because remember, a live person has to actually go and cast that vote, misrepresenting who they are. They wouldn't have ID that they are that person. And there are actually very serious checks now on whether you are who you say you are when you show up at a voter poll.
Yeah.
And let's say you're sending in an absentee ballot instead. You have to have a signature that matches the person's signature on file. Otherwise, those votes are tossed out. That's just, I mean.
By the way, there have been massive investigations, large-scale investigations into this. And one of the author's studies, the study's authors, has weighed in on this and says that Mr. Trump is misrepresenting their findings. Let me read it for you. This is David Becker on Twitter. He said yesterday, as the primary author of the report that Trump camp cited today, I can confirm that report made no findings regarding voter fraud. We found millions of out-of-date registration records due to people moving or dying, but no evidence that voter fraud resulted. So,
Allison, the same thing happened during the George W. Bush administration when they also kept going to the idea that there was voter fraud and that that's why they needed to clamp down on voter access, and we were so critical of them. Their own investigation in the George W. Bush administration came up with no voter fraud.
Okay, so the larger picture, the larger issue here is that if the President of the United States believes that voting was tainted, then the outcome is illegitimate?
I keep getting asked this question over his legitimacy. He seems to be questioning the legitimacy of his own election, all while, for the last couple of months, touting how legitimate and huge his election was and how historic it is. It can't be both. Look, what is the most deeply disturbing about his penchant for lying is if he's willing to lie about the trivial, like crowd size, or the significant, like voter fraud, then what happens when, God forbid, we go to war? And we've got our troops' lives on the line and there are casualties. I mean, is he going to send Sean Spicer out? And are we going to lie about the the casualties that have taken place? Are our allies going to be able to trust us? How are we going to sit across the table and from other countries and negotiate when you have an administration that cannot be trusted because they lie every day willingly?
I want to ask you about the president's executive actions on immigration. He is passing a flurry of them in the next